What is up, everybody? Ed Gow Jr. here from Dad Central, Ontario, co-host and co-producer of the Dad Central Show. Drew, how are you today?
I'm good today, Ed. Trying to bring as much energy as I can because I'm feeling a little bit tired, a little bit sore. It's the end of a long, busy week, but I did have a great workout last night, and I feel very, very sore today. So that tells me it was a good workout. It was a good way to bring some energy. So I'm looking forward to a good weekend. But yeah,
that's good.
How are you?
I had a different type of workout last night. I was invited to an event of a social entrepreneur organization that helps BIPOC women bring food to shelf. So they had a celebration. Yes, you would have liked some of the stuff that was going down. So they had a celebration last night of their second cohort graduates. So went in, and Drew, you would have loved it because it's nice big space, and right in the middle there was a table with sliders, like food galore, right in the middle of the whole place. And man, there was enough food. I could have taken some to where you live, and you would have had, your family would have had enough food for 2 days in regard to it. But yeah, it was chicken and waffles. It was a really great event. So different type of workout, but now I've got to get to your type of workout to work it off.
That would have been my post-workout meal. Thanks for not inviting me. I appreciate that. Next time I expect to get an invite.
Okay, no problem. So, as always, the Dad Central Show is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Dove Men Plus Care believes care is the best of a man. So, because when men care for themselves and others, there's a positive impact. And we have another positive impact dad sharing with us today. So, Drew, I go, drum roll. Tell us who we got today.
Well, today we're actually talking with Charlie Cates. And Charlie, he's been helping men develop their strength and athleticism since 2008. I probably could have used him. I've referenced being sore from my workout. I have not been very consistent in my activity level over the past 3-4 weeks, I'd say. So Charlie's been helping men do that. He's a former college athlete turned sports performance coach, both at the collegiate and professional levels. And he's taken his knowledge of athletic and muscle building performance that he's used for himself, and now he's combined it with an advanced education in biomechanics, physiology, and biochemistry. And he helps men in their 30s and beyond build their strength and health without injury. Let me say it again, without injury. This is something that is really important to me, and I'm looking forward to learning more from Charlie today. He is also a father of 2, and he's authored the best-selling book, The Exercise for Life Method, and hosts the highly acclaimed Exercises Health podcast with his wife, Julie. So welcome, Charlie, to the show.
And let's get Charlie here, right now. Hey, Charlie, what's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Thanks so much for having me.
Our pleasure. Drew, let's kick it off with our friend today.
Well, Charlie, before we get to the self-interest part of the show where I get to pick your brain about, how not to be sore and how to be healthier, we really like to start by getting to know our guests, a little bit of their backstory, a little bit of kind of where they started before they became, where they're at today. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about where does Charlie come from, and a little bit about, kind of early-ish for Charlie and how it kind of led to where you are today.
Yeah. So, I grew up in Wisconsin. All growing up, I played basketball. That really was my primary sport. And all growing up, sports really was my form of exercise. Until kind of high school, then in 8th grade high school, I started taking my training more seriously, started doing more weightlifting, more plyometrics, more conditioning work, everything like that. And really started falling in love with this idea of, hey, I put effort in as far as like in the gym, in the weight room, and I see results as far as my performance on the basketball court. After high school, I went to play basketball in college at Williams College in Massachusetts in the U.S., Division III school, and, had a very fun career there. My senior year, we got to play for a national championship, and that was just an awesome experience. And all along, my interest in sports performance in particular grew, really understanding like, okay, what can I do to make myself perform better on the basketball court? Yes, I looked at the training side, but I started to get into, recovery and everything else like that. Anyways, after I graduated, I was supposed to be having a job in Connecticut, close to New York City. That job ended up falling through, and I was back home in Wisconsin. And one of my college teammates was going to law school in Chicago. He said, "Why don't you come down to Chicago? There's a lot of gyms down here to work at." So I went, interviewed at a bunch of spots, found one that I really liked, right in downtown Chicago. And that introduced me into a couple different modalities, one called muscle activation techniques, or MAT, and another called the resistance training specialist, or RTS program. And really what these two things helped me to understand is, sports performance is great, but there's a whole world of exercise outside of sports performance. And these two things started to help me understand the role of muscles in what we're feeling as far as like pain, and what we're feeling as far as tightness and everything like that. Because at this point in my life, if you looked at me from the outside, I was really strong. I was really athletic, all the things that I had trained my body to be. But by the same token, my body was also broken. And I say that because when I woke up in the morning, I couldn't take a step out of bed without the entire right side of my body tightening up from my foot all the way up to my neck. Okay. I was in constant pain and tightness all day long. I couldn't go for a run for more than 10 minutes without my entire body screaming at me to stop. And I'm sitting here at 24 years old thinking, if this is how I'm feeling now, by the time I'm 40, 50, 60, is it just going to be surgeries and pain and surgeries and pain for the rest of forever? And I felt conflicted because my identity that I built for myself was that of an athlete, that of somebody who was strong and athletic and physically capable. But at the same time, I also knew that what I was doing for my workouts wasn't helping me feel better. In fact, a lot of times it was causing me to feel worse. But my options seemed to be either A, stop working out and get weak and lose that identity of not being an athlete, or keep pushing through and just risk injury. And so I went for the latter. Fortunately, because of mentors and instructors that I had, I started to shift my perspective on exercise. Instead of seeing it as something that needed to be about performance, I started to see it as something that needed to be about health. And I started enrolling in graduate school courses to really understand how exercise helps us be healthier. Our brain helps us improve longevity, our cardiovascular system, ward off chronic disease, everything like that. All the while developing steps and processes for myself to help me exercise in a way that didn't leave me feeling lousy. And at the end of it, I finally had a system where I could exercise. I could actually feel really good during and after my workout. And all those performance markers that I had been measuring up to that point, how fast I could run, how high I could jump, how much weight I could lift, they all went up despite me not doing the traditional sports performance stuff, and despite me feeling really well during and after my workouts. And then I realized there's more people that need this, because so many people go into exercise thinking that they either need to feel lousy during or after, or avoid exercising because they don't want to feel lousy during or after. And with as powerful as exercise is for our health, it's something you don't get the benefits of it unless you do it. And so if those things of feeling lousy during and after are keeping people from exercising, that means it's keeping them from getting the health benefits of exercise and keeping them from being able to live their life with those health benefits of exercise. And so that's really what I'm out to change.
Oh, so Charlie, I mean, there's so much that you share just in that story and that journey that you've had, and I hopefully will be able to get to a bunch of them. But what stands out to me is this: you're telling me that I'm sore today, and it's not good.
So I appreciate you bringing that up. Here's the thing: is a lot of times soreness is almost seen as like a badge of honor in at some level in our life, right? It's like, hey, this is the way that I know that I had a good workout, because that's the only way that we're taught. We're also taught that, well, you break down your body, you get sore, and then your body recovers, and then you get the benefits, okay? The thing about it is it doesn't have to follow that sequence. It's like we go into our workout at a certain level, and then our workout depletes us, and then we have to take time to recover, and hopefully we get back to that level that we were, or a little bit higher enough to deplete ourselves again, and then we get back, and it's this up and down roller coaster. And what I've seen with myself and the people that I've worked with is you can actually have it be coming in at this level, and your workout nudge you up a little bit, and nudge you up a little bit more, and up a little bit more. And it's not this constant up and down. If there are downs, the fluctuations are less. And so if we can reframe in our mind this idea that soreness is a sign of a good workout, and instead replace it with the story of, or what else would make a good workout, now all of a sudden people can go into their workouts. They don't have to feel like they are injuring themselves while they're doing it. And they don't have to feel like, I can't work out tomorrow because I worked out today afterwards. And that is going to ultimately allow people to be more consistent with their workouts.
I love that final word, and I think that that's something that's so powerful. We were talking about that actually in a previous show with another guest. Not so much in terms of the physical health, but consistency when it comes to engaging with your child, and consistency in staying calm, and just building trust and safety. So the same principle, but applied in a very different context. So okay. I lied, obviously, at the beginning. I said, we're going to get your backstory before you get to me, but I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
No worries.
Me being sore, and I actually really like the soreness because I do have that mindset. But what you're saying is that my mindset can be reframed so that I can still have a great workout, but I don't have to have soreness.
Yeah.
And I can still be more encouraged and motivated to keep going, or to do another workout. And then, oh, great, I'm not sore, but I'm actually still seeing the benefits.
Exactly. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is when people wake up sore one day, they can frame in their mind as like, okay, that's a good sign. That's part of the process. Part of the challenge becomes, at some point, people don't like that feeling anymore of waking up being sore. There's a period in their life where they may, but as soon as the time comes where they don't like that feeling, now all of a sudden the question gets posed in their mind of, well, do I really want to work out today? Because do I want to feel sore tomorrow? And at that point, if we still have to keep using our willpower every single time to go say, yeah, I'm going to go work out, even though I know I'm going to be feel not well tomorrow. Now we get into this internal battle with ourselves of every time we go work out, it's going to be this battle of willpower to get ourselves going. Most people end up answering no to that question of, no, I don't want to work out today because I don't want to feel lousy tomorrow. And that's when once you stop exercising, that's when you're no longer going to keep getting the health benefits of exercise. So what I'm proposing is instead work out in a way today that actually sets you up to come back and work out again tomorrow. If you can make that shift, instead of thinking tomorrow I need to recover from my workout, you say, I'm using today's workout to set me up to come back and work out again tomorrow. Now you can approach your workout the next day and actually feel more prepared for it, actually feel more energized, feel better. And you can leave your workout today being more connected with your body and being like, okay, yeah, I just challenged myself, but I don't feel like I need 48, 72 hours to recover. I'm ready to get back to it.
Okay. We're definitely going to keep going on this at some point, but right now I feel like we need to pull it back a little bit.
Sure.
And you're talking about exercise is health, and you and I love being active. I love getting involved, but many dads have either not been active in their life, or are maybe formerly active but haven't been because of stress, because of time, because of whatever factors, or they just they're like, whatever, why do I even bother? So can you talk more, and Ed, hop in after this maybe, or whenever you want, can you talk more about, on a high level, big picture, like I'm a dad, like why should I even exercise in the first place? Like I got too much going on. Talk to me. Like why would I even consider what you're saying to me if I'm not even there? Exercise isn't even on my radar because I just can't.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so many people feel that way, right? It's like, I have enough on my plate. Now you're asking me to add more in. Okay, here's the thing. As a dad, you have requirements throughout your day, right? Whether they're work requirements, family requirements, all right? And especially if you have kids that are younger, many kids are going to be asking you to do stuff with them, whether it's go to play, play with them at the park, go for walks. I mean, I have a daughter who's almost 4 and a son who's almost 2, and picking them up, running them up and down the stairs, pretending like we're a rocket ship when we go up to bath time, being able to toss them up in the air and catch them. All of these things I need my health for. I need my strength for. All right. I don't need to be able to run a half marathon or anything like that. But if I want to be able to be honest with myself and say like, yeah, okay, I want to be there for my kids in my fullest capacity, then if my kid is asking me to, put them on my shoulders and carry them to the park, run around at the park with them, climb up and down, everything like that, I want to be able to do that, but I also want to be able to do that with a certain feeling of ease. Like, I don't want that to be like, okay, that was really taxing. Now I just need to, be on the couch and chill out the rest of the day. I want to be able to do that with a certain feeling of ease because I want to feel like I can be there for my kid, at least for my kids, plural. That's at least my perspective on it. And so if you're feeling like, gosh, I just don't know that I have time, I don't know that, this is something that I really want to add in, you may feel like you have the capability right now to do the things that you want to do in life, which is awesome. My question for you is, do you feel like you have the capabilities to do all the things that your kids want you to do in life within a reasonable frame? And if you feel like you're there, great. If you don't feel like you're there, then I'd highly encourage you to start adding this in.
That's great.
I want to build on what you just shared there. 2 things come to my mind. One is dads being intentional when it comes to exercising.
Mm-hmm.
And the other area is when they're exercising, thinking it's not just about them, it's bigger than them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a firm believer with everybody, your health is your wealth.
Yeah.
So if you can take a look at each one of those conversation topics, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing that my wife and I talk about a lot is we believe your health is your most valuable asset. And a lot of people say, oh, my time is my most valuable asset. And, we don't get today back. So I can understand why people feel that way. What I'll say is if you have your health intact, you have the opportunity to get more out of the hours that you have today. And you have the opportunity to get more hours and more days overall. Okay. The thing about it is you don't have to go to a very super elite level conditioning to start to see these health benefits. In fact, a study that came out in 2019 showed that people who went from below average or from low levels of physical activity to below average levels of physical activity cut their rate in all-cause mortality in half. All right. Just from going from pretty out of shape to kind of out of shape, to kind of put it in rough language, right? So we're not talking about you need to be running, an 8-minute mile or anything like that. Just getting up and doing something consistently throughout your day creates a noticeable impact, not only in what you're able to do today, but throughout the entirety of your life. Framing it in the idea of, is my workout today setting me up to come back and work out again tomorrow, can make it feel a lot more feasible, because now all of a sudden, if you're like, well, if I go do this really intense class, now all of a sudden, I don't know that I'm going to be able to come back and work out again tomorrow. And so all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm not going to do that really intense class. That I don't have to deal with that overwhelm or that feeling of whoa, this is too much for me. What can I do today that then sets me up to come back and work out again tomorrow? Whether it's getting up and, just walking or moving consistently throughout your day, starting with that kind of frame of mindset can make it so much easier, because then now all of a sudden you're stacking the days and you're stacking the habits from there.
And then I also want for you to just get some reflection on dads making it bigger than them. Just about them. It's bigger than them. How it benefits not only them, but their family. their kids.
Yeah, big time, big time. So when a dad exercises, all right, the cool thing, and my wife and I talk about this all the time. She focuses mostly with training women. I'm training mostly men, okay? The cool thing about training mostly men is when they train, like our bodies are designed hormonally to have like a really cool response from doing just a little bit of exercise. And now all of a sudden, we can be more present with our family. We can be more present with our wife. Like we can change the chemistry of our brain to be able to pay attention better. All right. And it's not to say that women can't do that, but just, with, man's testosterone levels and everything like that, like there's a really neat change that can happen with just a little bit of exercise, where now all of a sudden, those days that we had when we were in our late teens and early 20s, where we felt like Superman, where we felt like bulletproof invincible, we can get back to that feeling. And it doesn't take nearly as much effort as we may be making it out to be in our heads. And so when we can get to that place of like, yeah, I'm exercising consistently. I can be more present with my family. I can be more present, with my wife. I can have more energy, bring more energy to whatever it is that I'm doing, and come with a sense of confidence because I'm feeling strong again. I'm feeling capable again. Now we're just showing up as a better dad, a better husband, a better, employee or leader or boss or whatever roles we have in our life. We're showing up as a better version of that of ourselves. And it really does not take that much effort.
Yeah. So good. Charlie, appreciate you, sharing that perspective. Maybe one of the things that I'm curious about is, hold on, let me figure out my question.
Sure.
Take your time.
Marco, when you hear this, make sure you make it sound good. So
I've got another one if you're not ready.
No, there was things that Charlie said I really wanted to tap into. But go ahead and ask your next question.
Yeah. So I want to talk about some of your fatherhood journey.
Yeah.
All right. So, can you talk about, your journey about becoming a dad, what fears, hopes, or challenges came up in the process, and how did you manage them when they did come up?
Yeah. Okay. So my wife and I got married in 2017. She was pregnant about a year later with our daughter, and my daughter was born in 2019. And so as far as like, we were very, very fortunate to not have challenges from like fertility perspective or anything like that. But the fear that I had, there were two of them. Fear that I had going into fatherhood is, could I be present enough with my child to let my child know how important they are to me? And and the reason why I phrase it like that is because I was working all the time, and I was traveling all the time. And I knew that some things would need to change in that regard. I just didn't know how they were going to change. And my biggest fear was not being able to have things change enough. And at some level, having my child and now children feel insignificant or not cared for, or like, to me, there was something that was more important than them. And so that was one fear I had. The other fear was just from a health perspective. I'm type 1 diabetic. And so one of the big fears that I had is like, is this something that I'm going to pass along to my kids? Knock on wood, everything is good right now. But that was definitely a fear that I had kind of going into the whole process. And even like, right up until like the first time my daughter got her blood glucose tested, it's like, I didn't know what to expect. So that was definitely a fear. The hope that I had is that I would be able to be there for my kids in the capacity that they wanted me to be there, and be present with them, and really be able to instill in them the self-confidence, and the love and care that they would be able to go out and do whatever it is in life that they wanted to do. That's really the big hope that I had coming into fatherhood, and being able to say, all right, at one point in my life, this is what was most important. Now, this is what's most important, and be able to say that honestly and wholeheartedly, and not just like the general canned response of like, oh, isn't it great being a parent? Like, yeah, there's nothing like it, or whatever. Like, there were definitely periods of time where I didn't feel that way. And over the last, over the last 2.5, 3 years, I felt like my mentality on that has shifted quite a bit.
Thank you for a great share, Drew.
Yeah, very great. Really appreciate you sharing that, Charlie. And so, as you went through and experienced those fears, how did you, like, I guess, work through or overcome that? And if at all, was exercise part of that?
Yeah. So exercise is something that kind of grounds me in a sense, because it's something that is a consistent thing in my day. All right. And I used to joke in college, it would always feel like I had way more homework to do until I'd go work out. And then after I'd work out, I'd be like, oh, okay, like my homework, load is manageable now. Right. So it helps kind of keep me emotionally more steady in that regard. So that certainly was a big part of it. But the things that really shifted in my life, honestly, one of the big things was, when like our business got shut down in 2020, because we have a personal training studio and we couldn't be in person. And now all of a sudden, that was right when my daughter was turning 1. And so then for 10 weeks, I'm with her every single day. And there was this like magic that kind of came out of that. And I remember the day that our studio reopened, I was so excited to get back. And as I was leaving that morning, she was so emotional about me leaving. It was like, it like flashed in my mind, like, do I even want to go back? Like, is this, like this shift of the thing that at one period of my life was like the most important thing to me. Is like, I knew at that moment, it's like, yeah, this no longer is the most important thing to me anymore. This right here that we've been with each other every single day for these 10 weeks. Now this is far and away the most important thing. And so then from that time, that definitely led to a lot of shifts and changes in my life.
Interesting. I just want to jump in there. I wonder how many fathers have had that feeling over the last little while. I appreciate your reflection on that, because I think in one way the pandemic was probably the greatest opportunity for fathers to really learn about fatherhood and the potential positive impact they have on their children's lives. And then that day that they had to go back, and it's not just mothers only who had that feeling.
Yeah.
Guys had that feeling. Also, fathers had that feeling too. So thanks for bringing that up. I think it's the first time a father's had that reflection on our journey on the show. Drew?
Yeah, thanks, Ed. I think it's also very interesting because, that time, when we face, crises or challenges, it usually causes a lot of reflection, and, that the great pause, as they call it. And so, but we also know that many families or fathers went the other direction, right? It became challenging. It became too hard, and there were things that broke down. So, I think it's great to hear. And we also know that when you think about the transition into fatherhood, and your daughter was pretty young, just a year old, that is a time when things change for many men. Sometimes we get a renewed sense of purpose. Our physiology actually changes when the child is born, right? We have an increase in some of the hormones that are more related to nurturing and caregiving. And so physiologically, there's some of that naturally that happens. So I think it is a very interesting time But obviously your personal story is pretty significant. And you said that exercise grounding you. That's really, really important for you in that process. So, well, maybe we can talk a little bit about your partnership. So, your business had to shut down. You work with your wife, though, which is, again, not standard,
Sure.
and could potentially be fraught. So there's two parts of this question. So obviously, you as business owners, you have to juggle parenting together and how that works. But then you also have this added layer of now working as like business partners and how that works. And so can you talk about those two aspects of it from somebody who would be listening, and how they what's going well, or how are you guys making this work?
Yeah. So we're very fortunate that our kids are able to go to like a daycare school 4 days a week. And so, they are there for a good chunk of the day. And so then my wife is able to come into the office, and we're able to be together at the office those 4 days. And then on today's like Fridays, it's just me here, and then she gets to have her one-on-one time with the kids, and go to the library, go to the parks, everything like that. The thing is from the moment my wife found out she was pregnant, she really took the lead on like what she wanted her motherhood journey to be like, and she put in a lot of thought with that. And she was very intentional about how she wanted to raise our children, and how, the stories she wanted to impart on them. I'm not talking about like stories she told, but like, like the way we talk to our kids and everything like that. Like she was very, very intentional with all of that. And so in that regard, it was very easy for me to just kind of follow her lead and be like, hey, yeah, this is what you want to do. Great. Let's go with that. And I feel like in a lot of ways, that dynamic has certainly continued onward in at least in the home, whereas like, she has a clear idea of how she wants to, again, like raise our kids and everything like that. And like, great, whatever I can do to support you, you let me know. Okay. And then from our business, as she was not in the office as much immediately following her pregnancy, and then when she would be at home with the kids, then it allowed me a little bit of space to be like, okay, well, this is the direction that I think we should go with our business. And what's been really cool about it is at the end of January of this year, she started coming back into the office more. And it is like, I had been planning all these things for, like 4 years now, working through my head. And so it's like, once she got here, then I felt like it was just like this propulsion where we could just kind of, now we're both going in the same direction, but in the business. And then, we get home, and because now we understand what the other has been through during the day, it's like, hey, if you've had a hard day, I know I can pick up the slack for you, and vice versa. And so then it's just like this, the partnership and the dynamic then just flows right into the household. Also because I try to be really intentional about being very present with my kids and being very active with my kids. When I'm at home, I'm playing with my kids. I'm doing something, everything like that. Right. And so we don't necessarily have like super defined roles. I almost think of it like, to use a basketball analogy, it's almost like playing help defense, where it's like, hey, like I need to shift over here to make sure, like, you go, okay, let me get the dishes real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. I'm going to go get the laundry. Like we are going back and forth and navigating the whole thing, and making sure that all the bases are covered. And so I feel like I tend to take a little bit more of a lead on the business side of things. She takes a little bit more of a lead on the at the home with the kids and everything. But we are both comfortable enough in each of those environments that we're able to propel forward in the same direction.
Yeah, really, I heard your energy just as you were sharing about the roles. I know you said they're not clearly defined, but they're defined enough that you've got sort of roles, and then how you support each other in those roles, right? And obviously, there's a lot of communication. There's a lot of working, in that. But that to me is, very well said, and really great share as well. So, Ed, do you want to hop in?
Yeah, enjoying the conversation here and how you're working together. Gonna ask, what do you feel is in your journey, the relationship between fatherhood and exercise?
Oh, wow. So exercise is something that I'm trying to develop a really healthy relationship for my kids with. And so, a lot of times exercise is seen as something that is physique related. Okay. We're exercising to lose weight or whatnot. I don't know that I've ever said those words to my kids. I don't know that my wife has ever said those words to my kids. When my wife, we have a cycle bike at our home. When my wife is on it, my daughter will be right next to her, and she'll be rocking on her rocking horse, and she'll say, "Mommy, I'm exercising." I'll say, "Why are you exercising?" I say, "To be healthy." Like that's the way we try to frame it. And so the relationship for me between fatherhood and exercise is like, exercise is such a vehicle to be able to amplify the parts of your life that are most meaningful to you. And for me, fatherhood has shot right to the top of that list of something that's incredibly meaningful to me. And so to be able to share with my kids just the joy that can come from not only just being physically active, feeling your body get stronger, feeling your physical capabilities increase, but then the confidence that can be translated to in all areas of your life. To me, that's something really important, really special. And then setting themselves up with a habit and a skill set that they can do for the rest of their life and get benefit from for the rest of the life. To me, that's something that is of the utmost importance.
Love that. Drew?
Yeah, very well said. And, when you think about all the research about exercise, it is literally like the elixir for longevity and health.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you research and you use exercise as an intervention, it helps.
Yes.
And so it's literally, I love the title of your show, Exercise is Health, because it completely is. And it's not just physically, it's mentally, it's emotionally. I mean, if you believe in this, it's also spiritually, right?
Yeah.
It helps in every aspect of your life. And of course, then to create a healthy life, which then translates into your parenting, which translates into your relationships, which translates into your business, which translates into, everything literally. So it's like the foundation. So maybe you can send us off, Charlie, with the, one basic step or one thing that if you are listening to the show today and you haven't got started on your exercise journey, where would you start them so that they could move forward in not being pain, not being, discouraged, but they can make it doable for them so that it is something that they continue on through life?
I love that. Thank you for that question. And I appreciate the question very much. And I think it gives me a chance to also clarify something I said earlier in the show, which is like, it's not that difficult or it's not that challenging. And I know, and what I mean by that is I understand that like mentally, emotionally, it can feel really challenging to get started. And I get that. And especially if you felt like you haven't been successful with exercise in the past or anything like that. And so what I want to say is, what I mean by that is what you do doesn't have to be that difficult from an exercise perspective. So where I would invite somebody to start, if they're like, okay, where do I start with this? Start by getting up and moving consistently throughout your day. And that, it's what we call all the time exercise. Okay. We classify exercise in two different categories. We call all the time exercise and special event exercise. Special event exercise is the exercises that we typically think of when we go to work out. It's the running, it's the lifting the weights, it's that special event in our calendar. There's a lot of health benefits you can get from that, but not all the health benefits. All the time exercise is the physical activity that we get throughout our day that we don't typically classify as exercise. It's taking the stairs instead of the elevator, standing up and moving when you're at the office, walking from your desk to the restroom, grabbing water and coming back, okay? If you can get in the habit of starting to do that all the time exercise consistently throughout your day, 3 to 5 to 10 minutes at a time, all right? You block out 3 to 5 minutes every hour, maybe upwards of 10 minutes, but you get up and you move. You do that consistently throughout your day, okay? What this is going to do is going to decrease the likelihood that you develop insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is the precursor condition to type 2 diabetes, to heart disease, to various forms of cancer and various forms of dementia. Just getting up and moving consistently throughout your day, not at a level where you feel fatigued, not at a level where you're breathing hard or sweating or anything like that. All right. That's the thing it's going to do from a health perspective. But what is going to start doing mentally for you is when you start getting up and moving throughout your day, that's going to start telling your brain that this getting up and moving thing is something that is important. And when your brain thinks something's important, it will start seeking out, it will start seeing more opportunities to do that. All right. And by doing that consistently throughout your day for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, your brain is going to be focused on the fact that getting up and moving is now something that's important to you. And from there, you can go from moving 3 to 5 to 10 minutes. You can start doing workouts that are 20 minutes long, 25 minutes long. One of the things that so many people have in their head is a workout has to be 45 to 60 minutes. It doesn't. Have it be 20 to 25 minutes, and then you can build from there. But start with that getting up and moving consistently throughout your day. That in and of itself can do wonders for you, not only from a health perspective, but then leading into more consistent, longer, or more intense exercise.
So good. Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good stuff. Well, before we let you leave, we got to find out where we can find out more about you.
Absolutely. So the easiest way to get all my stuff is just on Instagram. If you search my name at Charlie Cates, I have a link tree there. You'll be able to find my podcast, Exercise is Health. You'll be able to find my book, The Exercise for Life Method there. I have some resources that are directed specifically towards men as far as downloads and guides and checklists to make sure that they're building muscle in the right way, building their strength and athleticism in a way that won't injure themselves. Even a program that is designed for men, completely free to access. They can get it all there. It's all in the link tree at my Instagram handle at Charlie Cates, CATES. And then you can find it all there.
Excellent.
Well, Charlie, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your Exercise for Life method. I think it's something that, to me, I want to apply that. I want to be active with my children. I want to be active for myself. I want to see the health benefits mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I want my children to take that up as well. So real honor to have you, to hear your wisdom and insight, and really just wish you much success as you continue on growing your family and your business. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, fellas. This was such a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one. And make sure you give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy.
I love that. Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks very much. Drew, another great conversation.
Another great conversation. Another great story, right? The part that I really value the most about this show is hearing the story of all the guests and, their experiences, their elements of their life that really you can either tap into as far as, wow, that sounds, I can relate to that. Or there's elements you're like, wow, amazing. And look what they're doing now, even having gone through the experience. And so, that's the beauty of the show, and that we really hope to bring is a connection, but then also something very practical that people can take away. And I feel like we hit both of those very well today.
We always do. What do you mean just today? We always do.
Well said. Thank you, Ed.
There we go. So as always, excuse me, the Dodge Central Show is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Dove Men Plus Care believes that care is the best of man, because when men care for themselves and others, there's positive impact. Let me just cough and put myself. All right, we're good. That's better. Now the voice is back in full go. So as always, we want to hear from you because without you, we can't do this. So as always, email us podcast@dadcentral.ca. And Drew and I were in an earlier conversation. He is getting more and more communication from fathers out there about the great things that people are learning and gaining from this conversation. Also, if you want to, please check out replays, dadcentral.ca/podcast. And then finally, we have a myriad of free resources on our website, dadcentral.ca. Please check them out. A lot of them are downloadable right there, and you can put them into action. So as always, we want to say thank you so much for watching, whether it's live or a replay. We appreciate it. Remember to give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Be well.